Hello! Maayong buntag, maayong gabi, good morning, good evening. This is Mary and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about port of entry. Of course, with my props, the emblem of United States of America and Philippines. So today's video, I'm gonna share to you our port of entry experience. What is port of entry? It is a specific place where one may lawfully enter a country. Basically, all ports of entry have staff and security personnel with duties and responsibilities such as checking of immigration documents like visa and passports. Now, before anything else, let me share to you first our preparation that we had before we took our flight to our port of entry. So we left our hotel where we stayed and drove to the airport 4 hours before our flight schedule. It was on 2nd of July, 12 noon. So to do, regardless of the... So we arrived to Mactan International Airport and went directly to the checking area to check our luggage in. After the staff gave us the boarding pass, she instructed us to pay for the terminal fee. We were actually shocked because we are not prepared to pay for it, and unfortunately we didn't have enough cash to pay for 4,000 pesos for almost for the four of us. My husband had a card, Visa card with him, and I also have my ATM card. But at that moment, the internet shut down and we didn't have any cash, and the cashier would only process cash payment. As much as possible, we tried to remain calm and think of the ways to solve the problem. I tried to call my parents and friends to help me, send me whatever money, and then later on the internet went back, so we were able to process the transaction. Finally, we boarded the plane and took off. 4 hours later, we arrived in Korea International Airport and transferred our flight to San Francisco, California, which is our port of entry. So when we arrived it took us 16 hours flight from Korea to San Francisco, California. When we arrived in there, we went directly to the immigration office, and the officer scrutinized our documents, looked for the visa packet. So we gave our 3 visa packets to the officer. He opened it and asked some questions like our name, our age, and our destination address. Um, well, when the officer opened my documents, he noticed that the name of my son was not in there, and I was actually nervous and anxious. What if our port of entry denied us to get into? So I was praying at the time, and the officer said that we have to stay in a certain room because they were actually wondering how could my son able to get a visa and then his name was not in the visa packet. So they called the U.S. Embassy Philippines, Manila, and tried to figure out the mishap. 3 minutes later, the officer came back and told us that everything was totally fine. And so he stamped our passport with uh, information like the date of entry and the kind of visa that we had. So, well, we flew from California to Minnesota for another 4 hours, and then we stayed overnight in there in my husband's sister's house. and then the following day we drove back. We drove here in North Dakota. So, well, tips, a night before our flight, I weighed all our luggages and I see to it that it wouldn't go beyond the maximum limit. Well, as far as the maximum weight limit of your luggage, it depends on the airline. It's airline basis. So if you want to know how much the capacity or limit of your luggage, just check the website of your airline or call the office. Um, the feeling was, I couldn't explain the feeling of flying, leaving my relatives and friends and everything in the Philippines and having a new life. It's actually like a gamble. I don't know why, but it's really fun and exciting, and I can't put it into words. I hope you will have a successful journey on your to your port of entry, and hope that you will not encounter any difficulty as far as your documents, immigration documents is concerned. Well, it's been our 3 months. It's been 3 months since we arrived here in the United States of America, and so far so good. So you guys, good luck and God bless on your journey. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. Bye!